Acceleration or 1964 at its finest.
Yeah, well, you know, low horse, flat six, that's about what you're looking at.
That's what you get.
Yeah.
Nice. Hi, I'm Lou with another episode of My Car Story, and today I'm in the suburbs of Medford, Oregon. That said, I've got Larry Weiner, friend of the channel. Larry's been on the channel many times before, and he's got a Survivor that when I saw it in his garage, I said, I think the audience is going to like this one. What year, make, and model is this one?
This is a Chevrolet Corvair 1964, but it's a special one. It's the Monza Spyder Turbo 4-speed coupe, which they made very few of in comparison to the regular 900s and Monzas. This is the one you want if you want a Corvair.
Let's take a look at our featured attraction. So when I was in the garage, I happened to see, which I'll show you closely, not only the back as you're seeing it here, but what caught my attention was, well, that badge right there, turbocharged. And I said, I think that's what I think it is. We want to see this. Larry said, I don't know if I want to share this car. I said, no, Larry, we want to share this car. He goes, well, it's kind of a Survivor. I said, yeah, that's okay. So when have you purchased this car? How long is this car in your possession?
We've got it just about a year. I found it in Southern California. It's an original California car its whole life. We're the fourth owner, and everything you see, virtually everything, is all original.
So as we look at this, I just want to show it to you from the side. A couple of interesting things. It looks a little bit like you know, straight design with that bubble on top. And some people would say that it was a competitor at the time to the Porsche or the Volkswagen, and a real unique shape. You can see some of the upgrades. Obviously the word Spyder down here. Now usually when I think of the word Spyder, I think of some type of a convertible. This is clearly not that. They put that in there for the turbocharger. Larry, is that right?
Yes, only the turbocharged models got the Spyder emblem, whether it was a coupe or a convertible, correct.
Now this one's got some nice options. That's probably a dealer option there. We've got sport mirrors on it. We'll show it to you from the back and the interior before we turn it around. But tell me about, you can see that it's got a Spyder.
Right, there's a Spyder emblem in the center cap on the hubcap. It's a 64 cap, but only the Spyder's got the little Spyder emblem with a little spider in it.
Look at that. That one's maybe a little clearer with the sun hitting it. Isn't that cool? So any reason why they called, we'll open the engine compartment.
Sure.
Any reason why they called it the Spyder? So we have faux ventilation there, actual ventilation here, and then this chrome or stainless piece is correct because that was part of the Survivor package too.
That's part of all 64 Corvairs, is that stainless steel heat exhaust vent.
We've got the single exhaust here.
That's unique to Monza Spyders only. All the rest had different exhaust systems, but that's the bigger exhaust because it's coming off the turbocharger. Right over here, you can see it.
Yeah.
There's your pipe. So here's your turbo, here's your side draft carb. The air filter is in there.
And the 150 horsepower Spyder turbocharged was the high level in 64.
Right. 65 it went to 180. The preceding year in 63 it was 140. So each year they kind of bumped the number.
Got it. Now usually there's a tire here.
There is normally a spare tire there, which I have.
Yeah.
But it seems like an awfully awkward spot under the heat of the engine compartment to stick a spare tire, so I took it out.
And you can see that rim there for that. And as I come over here, we have our tag.
Yeah, that's where they put the trim tag instead of normally on a firewall in a normal GM car. Here they've got it on the support for the back of the car. Always
the very unique flat air-cooled engine here. We've got, as you can see, 6-cylinder, which is really pretty cool. No pun intended on the air-cool. So let's fire it, and then we'll go after, and then we'll shut it down, and we'll go back to the interior then from there. But yeah, it's really unique. Even the stamping there, showing the originality of this car. You could see the stamping. Maybe I could do it that way. There. Very unique how it wraps around. Continues to do that swirl with these pulley systems. This is going to get very hot, and that chrome is correct. Listen to it idle. Larry, give it a rev, please. Show that linkage one more time. One more time. I will shut that down. While you have that open, I'll come over to see you. Let's show the interior. Now, why did you have to have this car out of all the cars in the world?
I liked it because it was different. I have a fascination for eccentric vehicles.
Yeah.
And there's just something about a Corvair that I find interesting and fascinating. You know, rear engine, air cooled, from the early '60s. Just kind of brought back a lot of memories for me personally. You know, from my youth, one of the kids that I hung out with, his dad had one, and we rode around in it all the time. And so I kind of always remembered that. And when I saw this one, it was kind of like, wow, that's a cool car. We should get that.
The seat belts and the heat. Is this heat ventilation here? Or?
Yes, it all runs on the heat generated by the exhaust, just like a Volkswagen Beetle, same thing.
Yeah, little ashtrays back there and the little round top. Now the Corvair, correct me if I'm wrong, it didn't get a ton of love back in the day.
Well, you know, they were popular until Ralph Nader came out with the book Unsafe at Any Speed on the early Corvairs, because they had swing axles, again, just like a Volkswagen Beetle, same thing. But he went after the Corvair like a
beat a honey.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, that's a good way to put it. And
you got the right amount of pedals, by the way, I see.
Yes, it's got 3 pedals. It's a stick. You couldn't get a turbo with an automatic. So
is that right?
Yeah, they're all sticks.
And they were all called Spyders.
And they were all the turbo cars are all Spyders. Correct.
Now, is this tach correct?
Yes,
everything
that
on
is your Monza Spyder instrument cluster. So it's got a tach, you know, in gauges. You know, you got the manifold, the exhaust temperature, the temperature for the cylinder head, manifold. So there's some gauges. You know, we lived in a day and age back then when everything was idiot light. So at least it's got some gauges.
Yeah. The wood wheel?
The wood wheel was a factory option.
Okay.
And that's an original wood wheel from 60 years ago.
So we obviously have a heater here and fan.
Right. And it actually does work, by the way. I've tried it, and it does blow warm air.
Lights, wipers, brake. Got it. High beams down there.
Yeah. It's pretty basic.
Why do we have... Is this lights here? Lights and lights?
Okay. What you want is wipers.
Wipers?
This is your headlights.
What does this say? Does that not say lights?
One of them adjusts the how bright it is.
Okay, gotcha.
And then you got a wiper.
Got it. All right. Well, we're going to spin this around for you and show you it from the front. I told you that we'd turn it around. And this is, do they have a series of Corvairs? Like, is this the Series 1 or something to that effect?
So this is what they call an EM, or an early model.
An EM.
So EM. So if you got a 65 and later, they call that an LM, which would be a late model. And that's how they categorize them. EMs and LMs.
EMs and LMs. And what's the breaking point?
60 to 64 is an EM. 65 to 69, when they stop building them in 69, would be an LM.
Got it. All right.
You'll notice it even has all the original headlights, all the original GM T3 headlights.
Oh, yeah, there's your
lamps.
There's your T3s.
Yes.
Look at that. Well, how did this last this long? Can we open the trunk? Well, the front trunk. Can we open the front while you tell me?
Certainly.
How did this last this long? Was it stored, or?
There's that never got driven a lot. Fortunately, in California, even if it's sat out, which we spoke about, you know, it's in Southern California. They don't use salt. It doesn't snow. Yeah, you get some rain, but not much. So it tends to be a good climate for cars.
Yeah.
Because they live. Unlike the Midwest or the East where you have salt and dampness and snow and they all rot and disintegrate, this one here, there's no rust on the whole car.
It's amazing.
And again, you're looking at original paint
Yeah.
from 60 years ago.
Jeez. All right, we'll close that. We'll take another look on the side of it, just to give you one more body view of the other side. Larry, I think it's time for us to go and take this one for a ride.
We're ready, Lou. Let's shift 4 gears and let that little turbo sing.
Let's go. Thanks. As we jump in for the Body by Fisher, Larry, we've got the camera rolling already because that was just such a great background. First of all, I didn't notice the ashtray right there. And let's take a ride in the 64 Turbo. Now, have you driven a non-turbo car?
Yes.
Big difference?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, the turbo really gives it a little more spice. I'm talking about a stock one, you know, say a 90 horse.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big difference from a 90 horse Corvair to a 150 horse Corvair.
So,
Especially if it's a power glide car. I mean, it's...
are you feeling the... just listening for a second. Do you feel the turbo lag or no turbo lag? No?
No, considering the technology is so antiquated, it actually works pretty good.
It's so bad, it's good.
Well, it kind of suits the demeanor and the age of the car. I mean, let's face it is 60 years old. It's got 13-inch tires on it. At least I got radials on it. But I mean, this is not a modern hypercar or sports car by any stretch of the imagination. Not that you couldn't do that if you wanted to really raise the bar. Anything's possible, but in its stock guise, it's just a nice cruiser. Obviously, 60 years ago, the bar wasn't as high as it is today. Yeah, the people are all driving around in 235.6s when power glides were 3 on the tree. This was considered sporty. You know, I mean, most people could not afford a Corvette. This was a poor man's Porsche, if you will.
Yeah.
But the steering is very light. There's no weight in the front at all, obviously. And it's a very easy car, very undemanding. You certainly don't need power steering, and it corners nicely, considering how little the tires are. In all candor, I will confess that there are some upgrades I'm going to make to the car as time allows me.
Okay, now what are we going to upgrade?
What are we going to upgrade?
It's already a Survivor.
Well, the things I'm going to do won't necessarily detract. I want to go to the early Corvairs, the EMs, have a 4-lug bolt pattern for the wheels. And I want to go to a 5-lug, which is General GM 5 on 4 3/4, which is what they use on the LMs or late models. But that'll enable me to go to a completely more modern wheel tire combination, like let's say 15-inch wheels, like say a 15.6, a 15.7.
Well, 15 fits under the...
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, you can't go a tremendously tall tire, but sure, it'll fit.
Yeah.
But that is going to give me a way broader selection of tires. As an example, BF Goodrich makes radial TAs and 15s. They give me a much more superior tire to what the limited offerings in 13 are. It's just yesterday's news a long time ago. So a wheel tire combination is going to give you a whole lot more bite on the road.
Yeah.
And I've been in a friend of mine, he's got a 65 an LM, and he's got 15s on it, and it's like driving a different car.
Yeah.
You know, you've got a bigger footprint, a bigger diameter tire. It really gives the car a lot better handling capabilities. Same thing when you talk what upgrades. The front sway bar is old, the bushings are old. I want to rebush the whole front sway bar. And that's going to help when you go to the slightly more robust wheel tire combination. And you can do a staggered fitment. I can run a slightly taller tire in the back than I do in the front. And so there's little tricks and tips that we can do to just make it a little better car, a little more fun to drive, and by extension, it'll even make it a little more safe to drive with a little more wheel tire.
Yeah, well,
you know, but I'm not going to be changing the engine and bumping it to 250 horse. There's no point.
Yeah.
It's a happy car, as you can see, to drive. more confidence.
It's a happy car.
Yeah. You can see it's a happy car.
It's a happy car. I like that. Well, we're going to keep driving the happy car for just a bit longer. And I just want to say, Larry, as usual, what a treat being with you. This view is unbelievable. I hope people enjoyed that. Thanks so much for being on My Car Story.